Well, good afternoon, Twitch. Let's hope that we don't have any issues today. I am Judge Wolf of Tabletop Anthologies and Semper Fi. We are back with the Colonial Marines of the 13th SEU. The last time we were together, we... Sorry, I had a second there. Is it okay now? Sev?
It's getting better. It might just be on my side though. I don't know if anyone else can confirm that.
I'm not dropping any frames. I'm very nervous about this. 0 frames drop, so let's roll. So the last time we were together, the Marines were in a training operation on Hades Prime. They were called in for a briefing that there was a situation on a different planet that they were going to respond to. Remember, the 13th SEU is a space expeditionary unit that responds to colonies going out of communication, issues on the frontier, basically a rapid response force whenever a full deployment of Marines isn't necessary. And so the Marines are called back to the briefing room. And before we get going too far, I do want to remind our viewers that during the Shadow Gambits game, we lost a few Marines, and particularly the Sergeant and a couple of the PFCs, and they've been replaced. So I want to go back and remind ourselves who our players are. So 2 of our Marines are missing today. They're not dead. They just have other things going on. The new Sergeant of the 13th SEU, Sergeant Stratford, is played by Anthony. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing excellent. How are you, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, and I'm praying to all of the gods of the Colonial Marine Corps, including the god General Mantis, as well as the electronic gods that our Twitch stream stays stable today.
The Amisaya.
Yes. Strike the bell once. And so the promoted PFC Davis, now Lance Corporal Davis, played by Severian. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for asking.
One of the new Marines, played by Kyle, because unfortunately PFC Domatov met his end at the hands of a Praetorian Xenomorph. We have PFC Finnegan. I gotta say that Alpha Wolf Zero playing PFC Finnegan, the accent, it just does it for me. How are you doing today, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing very well. How about you? So you doing all right?
I'm doing just dandy, thank you. And a new addition, Forloth playing PFC Zap. How are you doing today, sir?
FNNG, man. FNNG. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. And so we go back to the briefing room, and what's interesting is that out of these 4 Marines, only Lance Corporal Davis would recognize, not only as the base colonel there, but also a Weyland-Yutani representative. That was there before. His name is Martin Baker. You recognize him immediately as the individual who briefed you on Sin City, the Orbital, before you headed out onto the Shadow Gambit mission. And so the colonel says, Sergeant, if you'd bring your Marines in, have a seat. We have a situation we need to appraise you of.
I'd head in and take a seat.
You're muted, Sergeant.
Oh, that's probably why I didn't say anything. All right, let's move it on in, man.
And the PFC Cassian Sire and Corporal Casey Shepard are they're there as well. They'd be going with you on the mission. Unfortunately, they had things to do today. It's a different game that we're playing today. It's not our normal Sunday. So the colonel says, Mr. Baker, if you would. And he steps forward, and he kind of looks around. He looks particularly at Corporal Casey Shepard and Lance Corporal Davis, and he looks just a tad nervous before he starts speaking. And he says, Gentlemen, this is coming down from the United America's higher command, so this is a authorized mission. You are going to be heading to a planet to help Three Worlds Empire. Sure you know that Weyland-Yutani has a deep enterprise with Three Worlds Empire, and the UA and the Three Worlds Empire are allies. Three Worlds Empire has a very large navy, but not very many ground forces. So you have been called in to help them. We have a planet It has a name, has a number. We just call it Greenfields. As you know, Weyland-Yutani is working to build better worlds. We're reaching out to the frontier and building colonies as we can. And those colonies need to be supplied. And so Three Worlds Empire put a stake on a colony, and we are backing them up. And basically, it's a farm world. There are 3 other colonies that are present on the planet. They were not authorized to be there, but with a little bit of, in order to avoid a court case and to kind of get things started on planets, we granted each colony ship 100 square miles around our area. So there's 3 different colonies there. Unfortunately, in one of the colonies, there's been a rise in what we believe to be an insurgency. Three Worlds Empire has a security force detachment. We have a Weyland-Yutani security force detachment on planet, but we want Marine intervention to eliminate this insurgency. We have a feeling that it could possibly be UPP, but there's no guarantee. Whenever you get to the planet, you can either contact the planetary governor, who goes by the name of, let me get my notes out here. I have a lot of notes for this scenario. Where did it print out? Why didn't it print out? Sorry, give me 1 second here. There it is. You have planetary governor by the name of Wallace Rankin. You can contact him. He's a Three World Empire backed individual. You can contact Sarah Ives, who is the Weyland-Yutani VP that's in charge of Greenfields. Flips the name through. Yep. And the planetary security team leader is Ernest Matterhorn. Either one of those 3 could provide you initial contacts. Also, I am willing to answer any questions you might have on the planet itself. I do actually, gentlemen, and there is one thing. Unfortunately, the atmosphere for the planet isn't terrible. We didn't need to do any processing on it for the genetically modified crops that we're using, but the oxygen content is fairly low, and there's a high content of CO2 and ammonia in the atmosphere, which means that anytime that you are outside of a building that isn't filtered, or a building that doesn't have a filtration system, you're going to need to wear respirators. So, Sergeant, any questions, or do any of your Marines have questions?
So you said there's unauthorized colonies? What I don't understand.
Yeah, so let me do my best to explain that in some terminology that you all might understand. Give me 1 second here, because this isn't going through the system correctly. Speakers. Sorry about this. There we go. I was wondering why it wasn't going through the. There we go. Wonder why it wasn't coming through the feed. So he kind of wrings his hands a little bit, and he says, he looks at Davis and he says, I'm sure that you understand what the term classified means. All of your operations are classified, and this information is also classified. I'm jealous, number 1, that I don't have tacos, but number 2, the Seegson Corporation, one of our competitors, tried to muscle into the colony. Three World Empire already had a claim on it. The ships they sent there were very low grade, coming from other frontier colonies. They basically didn't have enough fuel to go back to where they came from. Seegson didn't want to pay to have them go back. So basically our option was either to let them drift in the void or give them plots of land. Basically, but through our negotiations, basically what we did was we said we'll give you each a 100 square mile plot around our area, which we call it's not the wedge. I gotta go back to my little notes here. the nest, which is where we gather up the materials to lift up in the space elevator for distribution to the other colonies. We said that you're basically responsible on your own. We're not going to interfere with you. You don't interfere with us. They're allowed to take these 100 square mile plots and basically be on their own. But they are not allowed to go into our areas, steal from our crops, so on and so forth. And they chose their plots. And 2 of the colonies, they're doing fairly well. One of the colonies is not doing so well and has basically become a stronghold of criminals. And we could have just left them in the void, but we took it as a charitable thing in order to bring them in, give them land, and allow them self-governance.
Sure.
So, out of character, real quick, is Lieutenant Cook in the room too? Did you say that?
Lieutenant Cook is no longer a part of your squad.
Oh,
your sergeant,
okay,
sergeant is your lead. The idea of the 13th SEU now is that it has two major squads. One is on the Mantis, and you guys. You guys are a smaller reactionary force, one that can immediately go. Don't need any officer intervention. You do your thing. Oh my God, Severian, do we want to be famous? We could buy followers and primes. Oh my God, can somebody please get onto that immediately?
Right away.
Right away. Get that out of here. Thank you. Oh wow, with the band hammer, Kyle. Thank you. You are Alpha Wolf 0. You are the Alpha Wolf. You are the Alpha now. Yeah, so the idea is that if they could put you on a smaller ship, and not have officer governance on you, you can react much more rapidly.
Mm-hmm. So Martin, what
yes,
the hell
Lance
is the mission
Corporal.
here?
You are to go and dig out this insurrection and eliminate it through whatever means necessary.
What is this insurrection?
Well, as I said, there are 3 different colonies. There's Nilosha, Fakir, and Zabsi. Zabsi is... I don't know how I want to say this and be as politically correct as possible. It is a den of criminals and thieves. There was an uprising there once already. According to the latest security documentation in the Weyland-Yutani Corps, there is 3 warlords that live in this area, and they attack our vessels, they steal from our crops, and it appears as though they might be an uprising to overthrow the 3-World Empire government there. Given that the 3-World Empire, the population that the Weyland-Yutani and the 3-World Empire has there is actually only a fraction of the total population, it could easily be done if they overwhelm the security forces. All
right. So essentially we cut the heads, in this case, off the snake, and the rest of them scatter.
That's at least some of the thought. The other thought is that these warlords might just be a front for a UPP insurrection. The UPP is trying to move into the frontier. They see weak planets as jump-off points, and so they might be basically fermenting this insurrection, as well as providing weaponry.
Right. Almost manipulating them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So where are we dropping?
So as of right now, that's up to you, Sergeant. The Bishop unit has been instructed to take you down first into the nest, which is the Weyland-Yutani, or excuse me, sorry, it's not Weyland-Yutani owned, it's 3-World Empire owned. Weyland-Yutani is simply backing them up, it's a walled compound, that houses the Weyland-Yutani warehouses, the processing for the grains, barracks for the security forces, and the 3-World Empire population. It's kind of segregated from the rest of the other colonies.
So this Zabsi, is that what you called it?
Zabsi, yes.
Are there innocents there, actual civilians, or is it all just these warlord types?
Well, I mean, it's one of the 3 original colonies. We believe that there could be, we don't think that it's all criminals. These are colonists. There are men, women, and children there, but, we don't keep strict census of them because they're not underneath the governance of the 3 World Empire. They're on their own.
What kind of weaponry are we looking at fighting?
As far as I can tell, and as far as the last security reports came out, the other two colonies have very little weaponry. Pistols, farm implements. There's a couple of rifles here and there, antiques mostly. What's interesting is that in the Zapsy colony, the security forces refused to go. Because one of their vehicles was actually shot down with a military-grade RPG. And so I'm sorry, not one of their air vehicles, but one of their ground vehicles. Thankfully, the ground vehicle made it out, but it was severely damaged and had to be destroyed.
Right, and unless they have some sort of weapons manufacturing, which it sounds like they're too destabilized to even set something up like that. It sounds like definitely UPP intervention.
That would be our guess.
Strong guess. I guess my next question here is what happened to Zapsy? I mean, it surely wasn't always a place of crime and disaster. I mean,
well, I don't have all of those facts. I do know that Zapsy, the original founders, decided to start their colony near the coast. Perhaps the farming wasn't as good there. I don't know. You would have to talk to one of the people who live there. That would probably be a better question for them.
Okay. All
Gentlemen,
right. Any other
anything
questions?
else?
Yeah, Sarge, I got a question. Eine Frage, bitte. Where are we being inserted, and is it a hostile LZ?
So that'll be up to your sergeant, but we'll probably, as I said, the Bishop unit has been given guidance to take you down to the nest first. The Mantis Vessel, which he looks to the Colonel for a minute, and the Colonel nods. Yes, the Mantis Vessel that you have has been retrofitted. It is a lander. So the Mantis Vessel will probably follow in on the space elevator, and you'll land in a secure area, and you can venture out from there. It'll act as your base of operations.
Right. So we're touching down in Nest, and then we're assessing the situation and making our move probably into Zapsy. I would have to investigate here. As I'm shuffling through paper, I'd have to investigate here further in terms of where we're heading and what's our angle here. But wait. So what you're telling me, Zapsy founded on the coast, but they're not farmland heavy?
No, they're not. I don't know. Based on the geography, there's a salt flat that is just north of them. That's a fairly new thing that sprouted. It was just beneath the soil, and I don't want to say they chose their area poorly, but it's not a strong farming area.
Mm-hmm. And I see the ocean life is full of carcinogens, so it seems kind of...
Well, that we don't know that for sure. That's not... we don't like to throw that term around very much. The ocean life is there. It is edible from our initial ground studies, and I mean the Zapsy colony is still there, so obviously some of it is edible.
Sarge, if the air is unbreathable out there, how are these people being supplied with respirators? How they surviving out there?
I mean,
who's supplying them?
Respirators are generally cheap, I think. Generally inexpensive and easily mass-produced.
Yeah, but not for a couple of colonies of farmers. I mean, my pa was a farmer. I mean, and we didn't have much growing up, so.
Well, what's your name there, PFC? Finnegan?
Finnegan, yeah, you could call me Finnegan, yeah,
All
or
right,
Lightning
Finnegan.
Joe, as everybody else calls me.
Okay, PFC Finnegan. One of the things that the Wayland Yutani Corp did as a gesture of goodwill is we help them to establish their colonies and be able to clean and produce filters. Granted, some of the filters that these people are using are low grade, but they are 100% workable. The Three World Empire does send out some humanitarian missions to the Nolosha and Fakir colonies, but no longer goes to Zabsi due to an incident that happened. They do have a manufacturing base. They did come in on their colony ships. They do have a manufacturing base, but a lot of it is recycling, because there's not a lot of mining on this planet for raw materials. Mostly lithium and deuterium from the ocean for the fusion generators.
So these insurgents, they got any sort of banner they're fighting under? Any emblems we should be looking for?
Not that we know of. Some of the ships that bring in our cargo from the farms have been attacked. Fences have been cut. Sentry drones have been destroyed. As I said, there what's believed to be 3 different warlords that are operating in Zabsi that could be backing this. We only have information that there are 3. We do not have names, unfortunately, at this time. Perhaps asking the local individuals you might benefit from.
It sounds like a great fucking idea.
Well, Lance Corporal, I'm sorry, I don't have all of the information available to me. I mean, I have never been to this planet. I do apologize for the lack of information.
Yeah, whatever. Sarge, you got any more questions?
I got nothing from me.
No, Hanafraga. So the local government there in the nest, are they going to recognize U.S. CM jurisdiction, or are we going to have a problem with them?
No, you shouldn't have any problem with them. The Three World Empire and the UA have worked together many times. When ground forces come in, they understand that they generally have the jurisdiction, and the others should fall in line with you. Wayland Yutani Corps individuals, you might have an issue. You'll have to talk to Sarah Ives, because they already do have a mission, and the amount of security that we have from them is very little, and we have an investment to protect.
All right, any final questions, Marines? Nope.
Just give me the coordinates and I'll get us there.
Baker, I think we're all set.
All right, gentlemen. Well, good luck on your mission, and I wish you all the best. And so he heads out, and so let's talk about your new vessel, which you would be carted up to in just a few moments. The Mantis Vessel is a new vessel in the that's a little loud, sorry. In the CMOM, right? The Colonial Marine Corps Operations Manual. Basically, yours has been retrofitted for a little bit faster deployment. But these vessels are old. You going from the Mantis to this is definitely a downgrade. The Mantis was new, based around, new stealth technologies. And this is get in as fast as you can so that people don't see you. It does have some stealth capabilities, but mostly it's because it's so small that it doesn't register very readily on, for people looking for interstellar vessels. It's oily, it's dirty, it smokes a lot. You would probably... It is an absolute piece of shit, but it's your piece of shit. So
it's our POS. All right.
I didn't name this vessel. So, before you get going, and by the way, this is an atmospheric capable vessel, so you don't have a dropship anymore. This goes in and drops off the APC.
I'm excited about this.
Yeah? So before we get going into your mission, I would like you to name your vessel, and I'll give you a minute so that you guys can kind of chat it out.
Bertha.
For Bertha.
Bertha, because she's gonna be birthing my APC right out there. Oh my gosh, I just went Western.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
You have any objections? All right, Bertha it is.
Bertha. Oh wow.
She's a beaut.
She's old, but she's reliable, and she bursts the APCs.
She bursts them APCs. All right. Well, there we go. Bertha. Is it Berth or Bertha with an A? Bertha. So what do you want to use for your nose art?
Your what?
Nose art.
Your Mozart?
Nose like the
ship.
So if you so one of the things that James Cameron wanted on his vessels in Aliens is this idea of kind of like a Vietnam / World War II era kind of deal, and so he had nose art. Like it was supposed to be like in World War II, it was scandalously clad women, like that was a big thing. Some of you have the tigers that had the shark look on the front of them. And so what do you want to have as your nose art?
The first thing I thought of was it's kind of obscure, a praying mantis. But
a pregnant praying mantis. Let's do it. Pregnant praying mantis. That's what we're doing.
It's like the female praying mantis eats the head off the male, so it's kind of like it's kind of raw,
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm cool with that.
Good ideas at the moment.
I'm down with that. The praying mantis, and you can change your nose art in the future too. So, nose art. Mozart. All right. So
did we lose Forlath?
We did lose the Forloth. Oh no! Oh no, Forloth.
Yeah.
Yep. That's sad. All right. Well, we'll get
But
him
with
back.
the power of NDI, the stream is okay.
Yes, it is. All right. So away we continue. I'll spin him up once he gets back in. All right. So your travel, your travel to Greenfields is without issue. By the way, if you want to know what this vessel looks like, I hate to reference this movie because I absolutely, you know what? I don't despise it. It's probably like my 4th favorite Aliens movie. Alien Resurrection, the Betty. The Betty is a mantis. Yeah, the 4th one. That's what they are. That's the way it looks. So if you remember what that vessel looked like, that's what they look like. So you make it without incident, and when you are brought out of hypersleep. Welcome back, Zap. Good to see you. And it goes right back to where it was. Beautiful. I love NDI. You okay, Zap? Everything okay? You're muted if you're talking, or your audio's not working.
Yeah, I turned off the power strip with my foot.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, I've been there. I feel that.
So you arrive to the planet. You come out of hypersleep, and it feels awful. Like, these hypersleep modules are just disgusting and old, and you just feel like absolute garbage when you get out. But Bishop alerts you that he has eyes on the planet. And when you come up into the nose cone of the ship, you see this strangely, it's almost white and blue. So there's these massive swaths of white across the face of the planet. And as you kind of look closer and closer, you can see that this is farmland. The white is this farmland, and this bluish-greenish color is what the oceans are. And you can see that there's, as you get closer, that there's an asteroid that has been put into geosynchronous orbit, and there's a space elevator connected to it. And so Bishop takes you down following along this elevator, and you kind of get closer and closer, and you can see that you start to see the nest. The nest is this area that's in the Y of a river. And the river trickles down, and then you can see each of the 3 colonies as it goes out to the coast. One of the colonies is completely away from the coast and has much of that white field constantly around the area. One of the colonies is near the coastline, but still a little bit inland and has a lot of these white fields around it. But one of the colonies, it's actually the largest of the three, is sprawled out in between what appears to be a salt flat and the coast. And there is none of the white fields that you see with the other ones. And so Bishop follows in, and you start to kind of look. You're able to see a little bit more through scans, through, you know, looking at the different views, that one of the colonies looks very ordered and nice and neat. There's a small city with a large farm fields. There's a road that leads out to all these farms. One of the cities, one of the colonies, the city's a little bit bigger. There's a lot of corrugated metal, like it just looks like a lot of recycled stuff, and the farms don't look nearly as ordered. And then finally, the last one, the one that's on the coast, looks like a sprawl. If you were looking at this and you wanted to equate it to, like, say, a movie, anything that takes place in, like, South Africa, like Johannesburg, Somalia, very similar. What's the other one that's it's not Johannesburg, but it's one director loves to use. Davis, you should know this. District 9, Elysium.
Yeah, I think that's Johannesburg, isn't it?
Yeah, is it?
South Africa.
Okay. So like those areas, like just shoddy construction, shacks, like just not a place that you'd want to visit. And so the nest, though, is this beautifully ordered modern thing with street lights, and you know, like there's a place that looks like it's an entertainment district. Like it has everything nice and beautiful. And so the only spaceport, it appears, is the nest. And so you land, and waiting for you there is 3 individuals. One of them is wearing a very immaculate business suit, and she's a female. Like, I mean, like you could shave with her creases. One of the individuals has kind of like a disheveled look to him, but he's also wearing a suit. And then you have somebody who's dressed in what appears to be a version of M3 armor and has a pistol on his side. And so the 3 are waiting for you as you arrive.
I suppose you're the welcoming party.
So the one with the gun on his side walks up and he's like, "Oi, mate! Ernest Matterhorn, nice to meet you."
Meet you.
Sticks
Sergeant
out his
Stratford.
hand, shakes it. He's seems like he's a big guy, bulky, like kind of rough with the hand, but he seems genuine.
Genuine.
I don't want to start singing Pony, sorry. It's like, "Sergeant, welcome. We're glad to have you here. We you know, right, like we got a bit of an issue here, and we're happy to have you."
I've been briefed on the vague details, but I point over to I presumably Sarah Ives, I assume.
Yes. So Sarah Ives, the look that she gives you is just cold, like just brutally cold. Like this is an ice queen to the max, right? And she kind of straightens up her suit just a little bit, and she's like, "Yes, I am Sarah Ives."
And then that must make you Wallace Rankin.
"Yep, I'm Wallace. Nice to meet you. You all going to take care of this business here? Is you know, this I didn't these colonists, we didn't even want them here, and they're just causing all kinds of problems, you know." This is Wallace speaking, by the way. I'm gonna have to work on a little bit of accent. I can't do a British accent, I'm sorry. Maybe one of you can try and I'll copy off of you. But Wallace definitely has that. Ooh, maybe I could go Cognate. Let's try Cognate. Maybe. I don't know. We'll work on it. Okay? But he kind of just keeps adjusting his suit, He's like, right then, you here to fix this problem or what?
When you say this problem, I mean it's pretty fucking vague.
Well, if you'd be able to, just eliminate all the colonists, that would be the best. But unfortunately, we can't do that.
Listen. We're here to solve a problem, not create more problems.
Well, I mean, if they were all gone, we wouldn't have none of them problems then, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and if we weren't on the planet, there'd be no problems. If the planet wasn't here, there'd be no problems. We can geek about this all day, Wallace.
Well then, yeah, I know it's coming out Aussie. I can't help it, Finnegan. I'm sure Kita's having a complete meltdown. But I would like to note that this gentleman is not a great individual, so we could kind of equate him to a criminal. And what did the British do with their criminals?
Send them to Australia.
Send them to Australia. So I'm just saying, right then. All right then. So Kano. I could use Kano. All right then, love. Yep, that's that. Wallace Rankin is now Kano. Thank you.
Okay.
All right then. So you lot here. If you could eliminate the colonists, you would be doing me quite a bit of deal. Don't you have nuclear missiles on that vessel?
Yeah, we're not resorting to anything like that, Wallace. That's not the game plan here. Why don't you wait for a second here? The adults are speaking, and I'm gonna plug over to.
That sounded like I've heard that quote. I've heard that quote before. So Matterhorn kind of looks at Wallace and is like, "Eesh." He says, "Well, it's like welcome to Green Fields. You can see the governor here doesn't really much like the colonists, but we've had some good dealings with at least the Lothians and the Fakirians. They ain't too bad of folk. Desperate folk in desperate times, they do their thing, but we've lost a couple of people.
Mm-hmm. I heard about the incident with the RPG.
Yeah, we lost a couple of officers during that, but we've also lost a couple of officers guarding the fields as well as coming down on the boats whenever they dock with the nest here. So it's not a nice area no matter where you go. You always got to be on your guard. But like I said, the Nelosians and the Fakirians, they're pretty decent folk. They're just trying to get by.
Mm-hmm. Very well.
Quick question, GM, out of character.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sarah Ives.
Sarah
is she
Ives.
short?
Sarah Ives is 6'1".
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the last time I had somebody super short that was given the business to the Marines, she was too short. And so we're putting her on eye level this time.
So yeah, Sarah Ives, Miss Ives. What's your business? What's Wayland Yutani's business here?
Sorry, were you not briefed before you arrived, sergeants?
No, we're just confirming details, ma'am.
Yes.
They own the fucking planet, Sarge. I mean...
Well, I know they own the fucking planet.
Excuse me, what's your rank there? PFC. No, sorry, Lance Corporal, you have the crossed rifles underneath. Yes, see, Wayland Yutani does not own this planet. So the planet is under the guise of Mr. Wallace Rankin. We do not own anything here. We simply farm, and we take a cut, and that is simply all we do, Lance Corporal. Now, sergeants, yes, our job here is to simply gather materials to prepare for further colonies, and we are working with the Three World Empire.
Very well. Our first order of business, we need to. We've heard there's 3 warlords.
Yes,
here.
I believe that Ernest Matterhorn could help you out with that. Perhaps, is there any questions that you have about the Wayland Yutani business here, or perhaps I can leave now?
Who gives a shit about Wayland Yutani? We're here to do business anyway.
Well, what you just said there, sir, is completely wrong, and is just 100% just goes against what you said. We are a business, and you want to do business. So I don't understand.
Military business. This ain't no business.
Right,
I would like to point out that your armor, your equipment, most of that is manufactured by Weyland-Yutani. So you would do with a bit of respect, young man.
All right, lock it up. Matterhorn, you'll have to excuse us, Ives. Thank you for your time. We don't have any more questions for you.
I'll be in my office if you need anything. And so she turns around on heels, and she's like 6'3" in her heels, and just clack, 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 and just walks out. So Matterhorn's like, whoo! That bitch, yeah. Glad she doesn't have to. We don't work with her too much. Thankfully, we work directly with the Three World Empire. We don't have too much to do with the Weyland-Yutani security forces either. But you know,
that's good.
So you're saying something about warlords? You were saying something about warlords?
Yeah, we heard there are 3 warlords. I imagine that's gonna, their downfall will lead to the destabilization of the insurgents. So I feel like that's our primary goal here is to identify and take out or apprehend.
You got to be careful with that kind of thought, Sergeant. I know cutting off the head of the snake seems to be like something that would, be the smart thing to do. But the thing is that we don't even know who these people are. The colonists in Zapsi, they protect them. And in fact, if you go to Fakir or Nalosha, they guard those people there too. There's something going on that's very strange. There's something that we don't understand that's going underneath there, okay?
We heard some potential UPP involvement.
So
what's your thought on that? So
Wallace is kind of walking around, kind of like pacing back and forth, like he wants to leave too. And so Matterhorn looks over and for a second he's like, I ain't seen no space Russian here ever. I'll just put it to you that way. I don't know though. Okay, so don't quote me on that. But I ain't ever seen. But we don't go into Zapsi. We never go into Zapsi. But whenever you go and talk to the Noloshians or the Fakirians, they ain't seen no UPP either. These warlords are homebrewed. And so I don't know if you know about the event that went down in Zapsi, but apparently I lost my train of thought there.
Yeah, but you okay, man?
Nah,
I'm
fidgeting, and I just lost my train of thought. So give me a second here. What the hell was I saying? Oh yeah, the incident in Zapsi before everything started going to shit. So apparently there was a meeting with there was a bunch of gangs, right? And all the little gangs got together, and there was a fight. Right, it was supposed to be a come together, and they were going to usurp the Three World Empire, but they all came together, and they started fighting amongst themselves. And there was these 3 individuals. We don't know if they're male or female or what, anything in between. We don't know who they are. We don't know what color they are. We don't know what they're, we don't know anything about them. The only thing we know is that they have names, and we don't even know if it's kind of like the Kaiser Soze thing, or something similar where it's a name. It's just a name and it's covering up, like different people wear it, So we only have the 3 names that we go by.
So what are we doing here?
Yeah,
we
ask him.
detectives now, Sarge?
Listen, I'm gonna look at Rankin. Rankin, if there's anything else that you need, I'd like to speak with Matterhorn here a little more privately.
Right, then why? Why you need to speak to him alone?
With all due respect, Governor, your tactics and ideas are a little bit radical, and we need to get a strong foothold on this situation here.
My goal, Sarge, my goal. I'm getting my redneck and my Australian accent mixed up. Hold on. I don't have a pen to click anymore, so I'm kind of ruined. Hey, then, all right. So, I don't think you figure out what a joke is there, Sergeant. I wasn't saying that you should go and murder all these individuals. I was on the committee that ended up signing for them to all be here. It was just fine. Right? Now, the lot out there in the colonies, they're all criminals. They're all covering up for these different warlords. We think, he looks at Matterhorn for just a second. Right, we think then that there is no warlord. That it's just couple groups of people that are going by these names. And so, if there's 3 of them, now, Sergeant, I know you're a Marine, and counting's a little difficult sometimes, but how many colonies do you think's out there?
Is that a rhetorical question?
That's a rhetorical question. There's 3 colonies, and somehow there are 3 warlords. You understand? You see where I'm coming from, mate? We don't think there's an actual warlord. We think that each one of the colonies has is a faction, and they're all going to come together to overthrow us. And there's no UPP intervention here. This is just a cover in order for them to take over the planet.
Could be, or could.
Do we know that?
Yeah.
I didn't hear what you said there, man.
Is that Zap?
Yeah, who's supplying them? Where are they getting their weapons from?
We don't know. Now, we got good sensors on that the asteroid up there that tethers off the space elevator, and yet how we don't know how somebody's getting on planet to filter guns into these people.
So perhaps it's an internal affair.
It's not coming from us. How would it be an internal affair?
Well, if no one's coming from off planet,
Stealth ships.
stealth ships.
I mean, didn't y'all come in? What y'all? See, I'm getting my accents mixed up. Didn't you all come in here on one of them stealth ships?
Sure.
I mean, it's a possibility.
Fair point. Well, then, we can say all we want that there's no UPP involvement, but I mean, it seems more and more likely.
Well,
Unless there's some underground weapons manufactory, which it sounds like these colonies are too destabilized to even have the resources to
they
manage
can
that.
barely feed themselves. I don't know how they would be manufacturing arms unless they brought them with them in the original colonies. But that was almost 30 years ago.
So the 3 names. What are the names?
So Matterhorn comes back up and he kind of like you can see whenever Rankin's talking, like Matterhorn's standing behind him just like, what the just come on, right? And so Matterhorn looks around, he's like, yeah, so the names, you got Kaifo, Vita, and Najah. That's the names that they use.
Typo, Lita,
Yeah.
and Najah?
I will put it in the chats.
All right, cool. Typo. Vita. All right. Okay.
Those are them's the names that we recognize them by.
All right. Do you have any other information for us, Governor?
I mean, well, I don't know how to answer that question. I mean, I have plenty of information. You gotta ask the right questions there, mate.
Marines, any thoughts? Final words for the governor? I'm gonna look at him and be visibly disgusted.
No, I'd rather talk to the professional here.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that he's marking your name down in his mind. Somebody's getting a complaint.
On his kill list. All right, very well. Well, Rankin, if there's nothing else for us, I hate to take up any more of your precious time.
Yep. I got a planet here to govern, so I think that's probably about right. Thank you very much, you gentlemen. Good luck. Again, it was a joke, Sergeant. Understand, it was a joke.
I understand.
Okay? All right, then. So he heads off, and Matterhorn looks over and watches him go. And as soon as he's gone, Matterhorn says, "I don't think it was too much of a joke, Sergeant.
No.
Because
No, I think it's a joke because of our distaste for it. It was a joke. If we were serious, it wouldn't be a joke.
Look, we do our best not to get too many firefights out there, right? I mean, they're people. They're just people. They're people. But we have a disproportionate amount of security forces to have to protect what's going on here. There's a lot of attacks, and I'm not saying that he's smart and he's right, but it seems kind of strange that if everyone inside of Zapsy is coming out to attack, these vessels, break into the lines of the farms and whatnot, that's a lot of people compared to the amount of security. You know what I'm saying? And
I understand.
And a lot of the equipment that they're getting is a mix. Like we've seen, so the people of Zapsy have some older weapons. And there's some AK varieties running around, but I'll tell you what, I swear by, Jesus' holy butt crack, last time that we even ventured near there was some M41s in that midst.
I don't like hearing that. Very well. I mean, we definitely have to do more picking and prodding at this. There seems to be a little more of a complex situation than I thought at first. But definitely appreciate your time, Matterhorn.
Well, listen. Now, I know that Blowhard, he doesn't know his ass from a hole of ground. You know what I mean? But listen, he did have a good idea. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna tag on one of our squads with you. And I'll be at your disposal at any point in time that you need something. I got a couple of names for you, that people you might want to talk to, things that you might want to take a gander at if you get a chance. All right. So again, we have comms on station here. You can hit me up. We have a satellite relay, so anything you need, you can radio in on me. The colonies themselves don't have too much in the ways of communication though, so if you lose out on your stuff, you need to hightail back to here. The first name I'm going to give you is Wyatt Sharpie. Wyatt Sharpie is what we call him the
Sharpie. Sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead,
Shh. Let others get the joke. He's we call him the farm guard. They have a Wayland Yutani designation to use, but we call him the farm guard. Basically the major guarding that's done out on these farms is through drones. And so he has a small squad that he mans, but there's a bunch of drone pilots. And I'm gonna tell you, there's something fishy about them folks. Bodies show up and no paperwork's done on them. Okay. Another name. Jaffe. Nolosha has a group of elders that kind of governs the farm in the area. Or the colony. But he's the main one that you might want to talk to. Zaire, who is the female mayor of Fakir. So Nolosha has a council, Fakir has a mayor. Zapsy doesn't have any government. You need to stay out of there unless you find a target. You find exactly where they are and you can eliminate the target. Because if you go into there alone, you might not come out. If we all go in together, we could cause something to blow up that's been happening in there.
Right.
And no relation, by the way.
What did I do?
What?
I said no relation. Zapsy.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
Zapsy and Zap. Oh, okay.
Whenever Forloth kills anyone, we're gonna call it the Zapsy. He Zapsied him. But it's spelled like this. Zapsy. So, Adam Squad is gonna be your POC, Sergeant Stratford. So they'll tail out there with you. If you want to use your APC, you can use that, or you can use one of our ground vehicles. We do have a fairly decent squadron of Bearcats. They've had the front cannons removed and replaced with these rotary grenade launchers. So if you require air assets, Adam Squadron could probably range that for you. That way you don't put your Mantis in any danger.
Perfect.
Hey, Sarge? Sarge,
Yes.
so this is now a joint op? Do we know what the chain of command is? Do they fall under you?
They fall under me.
Duly noted.
Yeah, absolutely, Sergeant. Yeah, we are at your disposal, whatever you need.
Very well. So this Wyatt, you said he is you call him the farm guard. Where is he at?
So they'd be in the main Wayland-Yutani building.
All right.
Give me
Marines,
one,
any
1 second here. I need to open up the door. My dog is whining at me. She wants to go outside. Give me 1 second, okay?
All right, so the governor is totally shelling out assets to this rebellion to like incite some sort of like insurance scam, something like that, probably. We're on to him. That's why he's pissed.
I just don't think we should rule out superior firepower. Just take it off the table entirely. I mean, if we were to blow up a few little houses, I mean, surely that would,
Well, yeah. Once we get a target, right? Once we figure out
for sure.
where our crosshairs are going to be, to minimize any civilian casualties, of course. But
Well, it also could be too that it's kind of like a mafia type deal where they're putting pressure on the farmers and these other colonies to give them supplies and resources to keep building their militia, or their insurgent militia. Yeah,
protection money, so to speak.
yeah.
Extortion.
Now, am I understanding this correctly? So each of these colonies, like where Jaffe is and Zaire and Zapsy, they also have, in addition to the elder and the female mayor, they also have a warlord?
So the warlords are merely like just we theorize are faction names like Kifo, Vita, Nija. Like,
right.
those
But are they
warlords.
each one for each one of these colonies?
Sort of speak, I guess, is
That's
kind of
what that guy was implying, yeah.
Yeah, that's the implication.
Like I said, it could be a mafia head, and it could be like his two
Lieutenants.
lieutenants or whatever
Yeah.
to mask the real person behind it.
Like, so, for instance, this Jaffe, she's either working with him, or she's paying some sort of tribute, or she's deferring to him, right?
Right. Especially Jaffe being an elder of the Nolosian, whatever how you pronounce it. I'm sure that the council, even if she's not aware of it, somebody in her council is. I mean, to have an oligarchical society like that and have no awareness of this insurgency within their walls seems asinine. And then on top of that, Zaire, which is even the mayor of Fakir, Fakir. Also, just that Fakir is even worse off than Niloja. So I would assume that mayor, there must be some sort of involvement there. There's no way that these people, these rulers of these cities, are not working with these factions in some way. Which at the end of the day, I don't blame them. It sounds like 100 square miles. That's like, I don't know if you've all been to Phoenix, but that's like a sixth of Phoenix. All right, that's nothing. That's no land. That's such a tiny amount of land. It's no wonder they're struggling. So I think it's best to approach this civilly and with compassion, but we can't let our compassion get a bullet through the brain. So that's where we're at. Definitely need to talk to some higher ranking people of these cities, but I definitely want to speak to Wyatt first, since he's on station here, or on city, I guess, not a station. Any other thoughts?
Do we know if there's any outsourcing of these crops or anything like that? Or is it all for personal consumption between the villages. That's something else we got to figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we can figure out if there's an outsourcing of crops to somebody, that could be where the weapon supply is coming from. Exchanging crops for weapon supply.
Well, what was it Sarah Ives said? She said something about, from what she said, I got the impression that this was at least partially a factory farm. No? Did I misunderstand that?
Yeah, most of the planet.
Yeah. Most of the planet is farmland. If not farmland, fishing. If not fishing, I mean, every city has their own fusion reactor. So in terms of, except for, it looks like Zabsi has a not really functioning fusion reactor, which is probably explaining a lot of their issues. But yeah, it seems a lot of their export would be farmland, food, crops.
So Lightning Joe, what are you thinking? You thinking they're raiding? They're stealing from the factory farms and they're shipping that off planet?
I think whoever has these stealth ships is coming in is somewhat of a military grade like UPP. It could even be maybe it's the Third World Empire trying to knock out Weyland-Yutani, or maybe it's Weyland-Yutani trying to knock out the Third World Empire. We don't know. But what I'm thinking is somebody big is at play, right. And they're importing weapons and military grade items through these stealth ships, and then they're bringing them in here, and they set up some people as a facade of, hey, these are the insurgents, they're rising up, we'll give them some weapons, give them some power, and now things are getting out of control. So Weyland-Yutani got their tail stuck behind up the rear end, so now they come to us. I mean, I think that's what's going on.
Yeah, well, careful who you say that sort of stuff to, Finnegan.
Definitely keep this between us. Yeah, I don't like the sounds of this at all.
I haven't been enjoying listening. This has been lovely. So what's the next move?
Wait, you just made me think of something. So again, Lightning Joe. So you're talking like 20th century Earth, Green Beret type military advisors sent into the area to train these up as insurgents to counter our authority. By our, obviously, I mean Weyland.
Exactly. I think it's a power play by somebody. It's got to be somebody, because you can't fly a ship in here that's a stealth ship and it not be a military grade stealth ship. I mean, you got to have money, you got to have power, you got to have something. So if we actually catch one of these supposed military advisors, that's a game changer, isn't it? Right, but they could be a double agent that's out there here on the field. They could be these who is these people? The Kifo, Vita, and Najah. It could be them, but we don't know who they are. It doesn't seem like anybody else knows who they are. They're like a ghost in the wind. So we got to figure that out.
Conspiracies aside, what we know is that there's a big problem, big civil unrest issue here, and put very frankly, seems very deserved. It seems like a lot of these cities kind of got ousted and kind of got gypped of essential resources. Now, we don't know if there's other big fish at play here extorting that dynamic, but we know that there is a problem, and we know that it's justified. So I think our first move here is to talk to some of the residents here, and then move on to these other problem cities and get an idea hands-on from the people that live in there and breathe and eat and work on what they think and their thoughts. Now, granted, we have plenty of support here, so as long as we don't step foot in Zabsi anytime soon, and we keep on our toes and we keep careful, and we watch our mouths, and I look at Finnegan, I think we'll be all right.
That smile and response was perfect.
I brought plenty of gum, so I can keep my mouth shut. Don't worry.
So to the Weyland-Yutani building then.
To the Weyland-Yutani building. So, yeah, it's not too hard to find. There's a big YT, or a YW on the front, right? Big yellow lettering, Building Better Worlds, all that crap. And you're met at the front by a secretary or a personal assistant or whatever. And you're taken up to, you're taken down into the basement. And the basement is just as clean as the rest of the building. It's very much striking compared to what you saw whenever you were coming down, and you saw these kind of shanty towns, where this is like clean, like all beautiful lines, marble paintings, right? Even the basement that you're in looks very clean, and you're met at the elevator by, you see an avatar?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, the colonel, right? Like, just high and tight, like, cut, like, high and tight, flat top, scar across the face, muscled, wearing a tank top, has a big honking pistol on his side. You're met by this individual at the elevator.
Does he have a ranking? Is he USMC?
No rank, no, definitely. He's got a USCMC tattoo. Blade, the Screaming Eagle, USCMC at the bottom. There's a bunch of hash marks underneath of that. Like, this is a
Bet.
big time
Bet.
Yep.
So I'm actually not sure how to approach this, but like I would approach it as if, Marine to Marine.
Yep.
Like
And he would stop and take a look at the squad. All right then. Welcome to Green Fields, but it should be called Red Fields. This place is just one more hell in a long line of them.
it's looking like that.
Well,
That bad?
it's that bad. Don't let no Tabletop to duel this time. And this guy isn't he's not insane. He kind of like looks at y'all. He says, like, I've seen my share of insurgencies, and this one's a brewing.
Very well. We're looking for a Wyatt Sharpie.
You're looking at him.
Oh, Wyatt. You're the farm guard.
Yeah, that's what they derogatorily call us, but we have ourselves broken up by squads. I'm head of Alpha Squad.
Gotcha. Now, Wyatt, I mean, you made a remark about being red fields. What kind of insurgents are you dealing with out there?
Well, you basically got yourselves two different types. The first one is, these people on this planet didn't get a fair shake, but I'm going to tell you what. You and I both know that whenever the shit hits the fan, you either you knuckle up or you break down. And a lot of these folk are breaking down and moving into criminal ventures. And when they cross that line, field turn red. Weyland-Yutani and Three World Empire have issued out an order that if any individuals cross the line on the fences into the farms, they are to be eliminated through fire and maneuver. It's not a fun job to do. It's not something I take pride in, but it's something we do. Reason being is that we're concerned that there might be an insurgency of the size that they might move into the fields and poison all the crops, which could cause the deaths of hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people.
Mm-hmm.
So our drone groups have been putting it to them. That's them individuals I feel bad for when they're eliminated. But the fields run red with their blood because they get too desperate, they don't knuckle up and find another way. The other type of insurgents, what's brewing in Zapsy. Something's going on there. There's military grade weaponry in there. You can tell whenever they attack our convoys which group's which. These individuals aren't playing.
You said aren't playing?
They aren't playing.
Aren't playing.
Playing.
Okay. So you're saying there's a distinct difference between a typical refugee versus an insurgent.
Yeah, and the latter's growing by quite a bit of numbers.
Mm-hmm. So over time, you'd say that it's starting to increase and become more sophisticated, more coordinated. And
Absolutely. After that Zapsy feud boiled over, we believe, at least me and my men, that's whenever we think that that's whenever it got the worst. Now I'm going to tell you, we try to send a drone or two in to Zapsy, see if we could spot anything out. Even our unweaponized drones, they get shot down every time. We have no eyes and ears in there. Although, I'm sorry, there, PFC, go ahead.
It's got to be automated turrets that's taking them drones down. I mean, unless if they're a really good shot, which I don't think these farmers would be.
That's a pretty good point there, PFC. We don't know. I'm gonna shoot you with you straight there, Sergeant. I don't like this job. I don't like to see innocents die, but a lot of them are. Got a lot of concerns though, especially with Three World Empire. Last time that we sent a drone out, now the folk in Zapsy are a little darker skinned than the other two colonies. All right, the colony that they originally came from had a very the sun had large scale production of UV rays and some other stuff, and so it caused melatonin in their skin to increase. When we flew our drone in there the last time, I saw a paler individual or two. That don't make no sense. Zapsy,
No.
the individuals there in Zapsy are very, very close knit. The few times that we've tried to go into there and work with their people, they've shot us out.
Right, that's what we've heard as well. So it sounds like these paler individuals aren't from Zapsy.
And by paler, I'm saying possibly from one of the other colonies or from inside of here. I know that the big stink from Wayland Yutani is that it's a UPP incursion. I've fought the UPP before. This isn't their type of operation. If they were going to come in, they would bring in their big ships, they would level out the colonies, and they would just take over. The colony's destroyed, there's no indication that there was anything ever here, if you get what I'm saying.
Definitely don't like the sound of that, Wyatt, but I appreciate your transparency with the situation. Marines, any other questions you might want to ask Wyatt here?
No, it sounds like we don't got jack shit for info. Nope.
Well, you can talk to my second in command. I usually am monitoring the drone systems back here. And when Alpha Squad's called out, I take care of them. My second in command spends a lot more time out there in the field, so you may benefit talking to him.
The squad that's going to be running with us.
They're
not with us yet, right?
Negative. From what I understand from Ernest Matterhorn, we communicate pretty decent, although we're ordered to keep our business to ourselves. From what I understand, you guys are going to be with Adam Squad. Note the difference. We use military designation. They use the phonetic alphabet from law enforcement. So Adam Squadron from them. Alpha Squadron is the one I lead over here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We're following.
Roger.
Affirm.
Yeah, my second in command is Kelly Sears. His squad just came in from patrol out in the fields. You could probably find him down in the ready room. Debrief.
You said Kelly Spears?
It's Kelly Sears. S-E-A Sierra Echo Alpha Romeo Sierra.
Affirmative. Thank you. All right. Well, Wyatt, we appreciate your time. We're going to speak to your second.
Roger. I'm heading down to check on these drones and make sure they're all operational. You take care. I can't say that I'm at your disposal because Wayland Yutani has given us strict orders that we are not to defer to you. I think you understand how that goes, but you definitely want to take advantage of the security forces here. They're actually really good people.
I appreciate your words. Thank you.
Sure thing, Sergeant. Good luck.
Godspeed. All right, we're gonna talk to our boy Sears. Boy Kelly.
So you, the ready room, he kind of points you to where the ready room is. Oh, hey, thanks for the anonymous cheer. We appreciate whoever did that. You're awesome. Thank you very much for that. Unless the anonymous cheer that's their name. If so, anonymous cheer, we love you. I'm just putting that back down. He points you down the way. There's signs that point towards the ready room. And when you go in, the first thing you hear is laughter. You hear laughing coming from the ready room.
I'm walking in.
And so the laughter dies immediately, right? And what you see is a bunch of people who are starting to take off ape suits, right? The big, bulky Weyland-Yutani. They're starting to stow up M41 pulse rifles. Like, these are military-equipped individuals. And everyone kind of, like, looks down and looks away and goes back to stripping their weapons down, cleaning, and putting things away. And you see one guy leaning up against the podium, kind of like just sitting there, like he's watching everything. And he's got kind of a cocky look to him, and he's still kind of got a shit-eating grin on his face. Oh, ho, ho! Well, I guess the cavalry has finally arrived. Look at you boys coming on in. What are y'all doing here?
Looking for Kelly Spears.
Yeah, that's me. Sears. S-E-A-R-S. Kelly Sears.
Okay.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Sergeant Stratford, and my crew.
Yeah, I can see it. You're a sergeant. I see you on your nameplate. Sir Stratford. Nice to meet you, Stratford.
Thank you. We were just done speaking with Sharpie about the situation here at Red Fields, as he likes to call it.
Yeah, we making red fields, right, boys? Yeah.
So, you're mostly on the field, you would say. You're the one that handles most of the day-to-day field operations.
Yeah. So we got the drones out there, but we also got a couple of XT Stingers, right? Fully operational, fully loaded with the proper equipment on them. We take them bad boys out there usually once or twice a day. It is a lot of fun. Bahawing around in them fields. I see that look on your face. He points over at Davis. He's like, I know. You know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yep, just terrassing around in the fields, having a good old time. Yep.
So, with that in mind, we heard some things about the refugees, insurgents, if you will,
Oh, jeez.
building up forces, getting better, stronger equipment, and all in all becoming more coordinated, seemingly. I just wanted to see if you had anything to add to that.
Oh yeah, they're all scum. Every single one of them out there, from the youngest man to the youngest kid to the oldest adult. They are all just scumbags. Every single one of them is fixing to get out there and steal something, break something, kill somebody. We're the ones. We protect this area, right, boys? Right? Yeah. And they're all like, ah. Although they're kind of a little bit less exuberant now that the Marines are here.
So no, you mistake my question here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Are they becoming more sophisticated, or is their equipment getting better? What sort of equipment do you take off them at the field?
I can tell you they're getting a lot sicker lately. Right? A lot of them, they're just keeling over and dying for no fucking reason. It's great. Wait, sorry. Let me answer your question. All right, your question was, let me get this straight. You want to know if they're getting more and more sophisticated. That's what you're asking. Yeah? Right? Okay. Well, let me tell you. We're seeing more and more action out there every day, and I'm just damn fine with that. All right? The more we eliminate, the easier it gets. Okay? But yeah, I'd say so. We've seen a little bit higher grade weaponry out there. We've seen a little bit more action. There was one time there was a coordinated attack on our Stingers, but we eliminated that one, didn't we? The fields ran red that day. We made sure to grab a couple of souvenirs and then make sure to fertilize that ground, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, pretty fucking disgusting, man.
Yeah, right?
Davis just walks out of the room.
It's his fucking problem. That boy had the eye of a sniper on him. This is somebody that shoots people from afar, can't even get up in their grill about it. Anyways, I see you over there chewing your gum, Finnegan, right? Pfc Finnegan, you know what I mean, right? What are you ain't in charge of me. Get the fuck out of here. You gonna talk like that there, Sergeant. This ain't no fucking Marine Corps unit.
Talking about like this, all right?
They aren't fucking people, though. They're not people.
Squad, all right?
They're not people.
Goddamn mission, all right?
They're not people. Why are you even worried? They're not people. They're not people. What? Ooh, bye. Get out of here.
Sarge, we're wasting our time with these overpaid security guards.
Hey, get the fuck out of here then.
I'm gonna spit on the ground on the way out.
Fucking, don't worry, we'll get somebody to clean that up. Good luck out there, piece of shit.
Break his fucking nose.
So just I do want to take just a moment here to kind of put a pause on everything. We're going to keep going here for about another half hour, but I do want to take a moment, and I'm taking the helmet off. I'm being serious, dead 100% serious.
Okay.
The content of this mission is meant to be disturbing.
Right.
Okay, so for everyone out there that might be watching who's like, what the fuck is going on? It's meant to be this way. Okay? What I'm doing here is I'm trying to bring in some real-world experiences that I've had whenever I was in the Marines. I'm trying to take some experiences that I know other people have had, and the individuals that you run into, and the people that you run into. And I want to make sure I'll probably going to throw it in on the opening screen here before when we get going. In no way does anybody who's acting negatively in this reflect anybody's opinion at TTA. 100%, every single one of us agree in equity, in understanding and having empathy for your fellow man and your fellow people. That being said, there are people out there that do not, and you are going to run into them in this scenario. Okay? So at any point in time, if it gets too much for you, at any point in time, please let me know. We can take a step back, we can go a different direction for a little bit, and then come back to it. Okay? It is meant to be that way in order to elicit a response.
Yeah, you're pissing me off.
Good. You should be, right? Because people like that are disgusting, but they're out there. So I just want to go one more look to the audience. If any of this thing is bothering you, or it gets to be a little bit too much, just understand that there are things going on behind the scenes. There's a reason people are acting like this, and all of this is 100% role play. It is not meant to reflect any on TTA or any individual and how they believe or think. Because 100% we are behind all people living harmoniously as best as we can with one another. Okay? Sorry. I felt that it was getting ugly there for a second, and I just wanted to back out for just a second.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
No,
Okay.
good disclaimer. Like that disclaimer you have for
Judge Dredd.
Judge Dredd.
Yeah. So just wanted to take care of that really quick. So, there are disgusting people on this planet.
Yeah. You were definitely eliciting an emotional response from me.
Good.
And Roland Davis.
Yeah.
All right, so now we storm out of there, freaking pissed off at these douchebags.
So as you exit the building, a vehicle pulls up, and it looks like it's a modified. I wrote it down. Daihote series 8x8 tractor, but it's up armored, and it kind of pulls up, and it has the marks of the security forces for the Three World Empire. And getting out of the driver's seat is, where's my roster? Gotta get my roster. Sorry, I got a lot of paperwork here. Here we go. Is a big boy, 6'5". Just, he doesn't look muscled. He just looks like meat. Like, you seen that farm look before, right? Like farm people, like people who work on a farm aren't ripped, right? But their muscles are just built in such a way that they're incredibly strong. And he's wearing the security equipment for the Three World Empire. And then you see other officers starting to get out. And Sergeant, the one that has sergeant stripes, is the one that's driving. He kind of gets out and looks at you, and you can see the looks on your faces as you come out, and he's kind of like, ugh. And so he calls out to you. He's like, hey, your functional strength. That's what it's called. Thank you. He kind of looks at you and he goes, y'all just meet with Miss Ives or with one of the farm guard?
Both of them.
Farm guard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah, they're a piece of shit. Yeah, their leader's okay, but the rest of them are kind of a little disgusting. So.
A little disconnected.
Yeah. Well, look, this is Adam's squad. Let me introduce you around. And he sticks his hand out and he says, Sergeant Douglas Brookson. Like, nice to meet you. He's like, Adam's squad is at your disposal. Let me give you a look around. So all the officers kind of crowd around. They're all wearing fairly light flak vests, have pistols on their sides, baton. They look like LEOs from our time, right? He points to the first one. He says, "This is Officer Jose Mendez." The officer kind of smiles at you. He's a little darker skin, Hispanic, looks like descendant. He has a very bright smile, just very, very smiling. He kind of sticks his hand out and goes around and shakes. He's like, "This is Officer Joshua Campbell. If Brookson was big and functional strength, Joshua Campbell actually makes him look smaller. This is a big, big boy. Gives a full feeling to the idea of farm raised, right? And he's got a big smile on his face. He looks like he's chewing gum, right? And he's just kind of smiling as he chews the gum. He's got aviator shades on, and he's got like, hey, how's it going? How's y'all doing? How y'all doing? Good to meet you. Good to meet you. Yep. Oh, hey. And he sees Finnegan, and he's like, aren't you a handsome looking man? How you doing? He like shakes your hand and kind of moves on. And he points to a very not petite but a shorter female. He says, this is Officer Cessa Riffen. She kind of looks like she looks hard bitten, like tough. There's not a fat, like an ounce of fat on her, just raw muscle, and there's like an almost like predatory feel underneath of her. Like at any moment she could just spring into action, but she has a firm handshake and she nods. She doesn't say too much. Another female officer, Sheila Watson. She actually has a rifle slung across her back that has a scope on it. She has a dip, big old chaw, stuck wet. Just like she spits out a little bit, but she's kind of has like a howdy y'all kind of voice to her. She definitely stops at Davis for a minute, and she looks like she wants to talk to him, but there's business to be done. And then the last one is, he's just this. He doesn't look like he belongs here. He looks like a kid. He looks like he might just be 18. Like he's super boyish features. He probably gets joked on constantly by everyone that he looks like he's 12 years old. His name's Jesse Thompson. He looks nervous as hell. He's like, wow, you guys are actually real UA Marines. Oh my gosh. Like, oh my gosh, you guys are really UA Marines. Oh my gosh. Hi, how you? How's it going? Oh my gosh. And so,
yeah, he's gonna die first.
Yeah, he's gonna die first. First one to go. First one to go.
It's gonna be tragic.
Yep, it's gonna be tragic because I'm gonna play up him very badly. And so the sergeant says, so y'all thought about your plan of action? So
yes, I believe our first move is to move on. That first city starts with an N. Nolosha. Yeah, we need to speak with the oligarchs at the city to see. We assume that they are working with the faction there. At least somebody is. So we need to.
You think the elders are working with the insurgents?
I hope not by choice, but I assume to some level this oligarch
has some sort of influence on this mafia, or vice versa. I say mafia, but I mean the faction.
No, I got you. I'm picking up what you're putting down. What do the rest of y'all think?
I think we need to go in there with some provisions, because if these people are being oppressed by some sort of crime lord, something that might get them to more cooperate with us would be provisions. So we might want to take an APC and load it up with some provisions for these folks, and maybe to get them to talk. You know, you never try and negotiate without something in your hands. So
We're here to help. We're here to help, right? So we need to make sure our actions show that.
Maybe our corporate sponsors can provide some bribes of sort.
Well, that's not a bad idea, Lance Corporal. But let me see what I can finagle. But Finnegan, that's so Three World Empire authorizes us shipments of humanitarian rations. We haven't been out in a while because of all the issues that's been going on. So we've mostly been patrolling the nest, but we could probably load up. If you got, we can load up some on our the Hoda here, and if you want to load up some on there, and you said Lance Corporal Davis, right? That's your name?
Yep.
I can reach out to Wayland Yutani and see if we can't get a little bit more. And how'd you say that was? Greasing the wheels, you corporate sponsors. Maybe I can use some of that language to get them to buy into that. What do you think?
Sounds like the only plan we got.
What about you over there, PFC? Is that your name?
Yes, sir. Zap. PFC.
What do you think?
Hey, whatever the Sarge says. Whatever Lance Corporal says.
All right, roger that.
Got my support.
All right, well, let me see what I can do. We'll escort you out to Melosha. I'll put in a call, see if their communication system's up, and let them know we're coming. Unless you don't want them to know.
I don't think that would be wise. I want to let them know that we're coming. We shouldn't show up there unannounced.
Sure thing. All right. Yep. So he jumps back into the Dahoda. You see him get on the radio a little bit, and you can see him, like, all of a sudden he's getting in an argument, right? Like on the comms, and he's just spitting fire. And he hangs up, and he pops back out, and he says, all right. So Wayland Yutani's gonna give us some of the their most recent crop to bring in to Losha. We got humanitarian rations on the way. We can load up. If y'all want to go board up your APC, we'll escort you out there.
Let's do it. 10-4. Thank you, Sergeant.
All right. So now is whenever requisition is going to become important, because you are going outside of the wire. So the way that we're handling Marines here is similar to the way that the Colonial Marines operations manual has a Group A and Group B for character generation. I went through and came up with a Group A, B, C, D, and E that they can requisition, one from each thing. So I think we can handle that maybe before the next session off camera. We got about 20 minutes left. I want to get you to Nolosha to meet with the village elders first, if that's okay. I'll assume that you guys aren't going to go in there and mowing anybody down, or pistol whipping any space carrions or anything like that.
No, I don't think that's on our agenda this evening.
Okay. Yeah, no, good, Lorca. All right, so it's not too long before a cargo carrier pulls up, and they start loading up these humanitarian rations. Which, Zap, I don't know if you ever actually ate a humi rat. They're kind of gross, but they're food. Yep. They're basically MREs that are just gross. So they start loading that up, and another one comes out and starts loading up these bundles of grain into the vehicles. And so you take off, and when you leave the nest is a walled city almost. You leave it, it feels like you're instantly in another world. It feels like you are in the middle of nowhere. That there is no life out there. Even bird life is very rare on this planet. It's mostly in the water and plant life. And so, let me switch over here for just
Question,
a second.
JW?
Yeah, sure.
So are we in convoy formation? How many vehicles?
2. You have 2 vehicles.
Just
You have
two.
your APC and you have the Dahota modified one.
Presumably they're in front, leading the way?
Yep. And he kind of calls back to make sure you take combat spacing. You know, you're not bunching up. And there's no road once you leave the city. It's mostly just flat dirt. And he drives you by. You can start to see these fields of modified green that are this whitish color. And you start to see Nolosha coming up on the horizon, and he takes you there. And as you get closer to the city, you notice that it's kind of like the city's on the point, and then you start to see these fields way beyond the city. And now there's roads starting to come up. It's mostly gravel, maybe a little bit of cobblestone. There's rudimentary fences. There are trees on this planet, and wood is possible to get a hold of and make things out of. You start to see the people. The people are mostly a darker skinned group. They're all wearing masks. The masks all have designs on them. They're all like colorful. Most of the clothing that the people wear is colorful. Reds and yellows and bright blues, and it gives you this feeling of, especially having dealt with Kelly, that these aren't just background NPCs to be mowed down for fun, right? These are real breathing individuals who are just trying to scrimp by. Most of them are thin. Most of them are, the clothes that they wear hang from them. And you pull into the city, and there are buildings that look fairly modern, made out of concrete and rockcrete. They're permanent structures. The streets begin to become an almost blacktop-like material, and they're lined, right? Like there's 2 sides to the road. The city looks like it's laid out fairly well, with what appears to be a large building in the middle, and you see warehouses along the sides. And you start to see people moving about their daily lives, there looks what to be a school with children coming out of it. There appears to be, an area where there is, fun to be had. But everyone's wearing these colorful garments and these masks that have designs all over them. And you start to pull up, the Dahota pulls up to the this main building, and you see a group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 individuals waiting for you. And Douglas hops out of the vehicle, and he before you even come out of the APC, he walks up, and you see him cross his arm to his chest, and he kind of goes like this to one of the people, and you can see him talking very rapidly to this individual. And this would be about the time that you would be rolling out of the APC.
Were we supplied with respirators?
Yes, yeah, you have respirators, and as many, you have at least 2, and we'll put actual amounts to it next time. But yeah, you definitely have respirators, military respirators from requisition.
And how are we handling this? Or just everything's port arms? Are weapons slung?
That's up to your sergeant.
We're presuming this is a safe zone?
This we're gonna presume it's a safe zone. So, well, I don't know the terminology that you just said. So, in the case of it being in a friendly area, it would be then slung, or
so. There's basically 3 different carries that the military uses. There's the 4. There's sling arms, which means your weapons are over your shoulders, right? You're carrying them like they're there. You don't leave them in the vehicle. They're there. Right. The ready is you basically holding it like this, right? Kind of at port arms, like Zap said. So you're just kind of holding it up. You have, instead of around the buttstock, though, you actually have it around the handle, the pistol grip. The alert is you're kind of down. This is you getting into combat mode, and then the alert to the dirt, and then I can't remember the name of the last one. It's been so long, but basically you have it up to your shoulder and up and out.
Gotcha. Yeah, let's just have it slung on our shoulders.
And so the what are very obviously the elders of Nolosha are kind of chattering back and forth to each other very, very rapidly, and one of them goes running into the building.
Douglas, what's up with that guy?
Oh, he turns around. He's like, "Oh, I just told him that y'all are coming here with the intentions of humanitarian aid, and they're going in to put in a call to some of the workers in the area to come and start unloading the stuff." And so one of the one in the center, he looks like a shrunken old man. His skin is very wrinkled. He wears very simple clothing of a dark red color. He walks up to Sergeant Stratford, and he's probably maybe 5'6", and he puts his arm across his chest and he kind of bows a little bit to you.
I'm gonna show the same sign of respect.
And so he says, "Brookson tells me that it was you and your squad's idea to bring food to us."
I'm gonna eyeball Finnegan. My one of my infantrymen led the initiative on that, but we're all here in support of the people. We want Nolosha to know, and you to know, and the council to know that we're here to help.
And so Finnegan, Jaffe turns to Finnegan, and he kind of does the same thing, crosses his arm across his chest, and he kind of goes like this to you. And he says, "My people are starving, and yet we are the best off amongst all the colonies. My people call me the speaker. I speak for them, and I invite you in. We would like to break bread with you and discuss the situation that you have. You have brought us aid. We at very least we will have words with you if you would sit and eat with us."
Of course, we welcome your hospitality.
And so you kind of get a look at the rest of the elders now. One of them is another male, and he looks young. Like in an area of elders, this guy probably isn't older than 30. Although the conditions are pretty harsh, and he has this fire in his eyes. Like you could just see his mask, right, covers his face, but his eyes are just alight. There are two females, both of which are kind of staring at you. They're older, maybe 50s, 60s. And then you have one other male who looks probably about the same age as Jaffe, but not as sunken. It's as if the leadership has weighed upon Jaffe's shoulders. And so they lead you in, and as soon as you're inside, the door's shut and the masks come off. And it's almost sad. Because, all right, who's read Dune? Hands up if you've read Dune. Oh, okay, good. All right, still suits, right? You end up getting the still suit scar. Well, these guys have scars all the way around their faces from just the respirators being there almost their entire lives. And the skin underneath of the mask is actually, you can see it. It's much paler than the rest of their skin.
Like a farmer's tan. But...
Yeah, but yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah.
And so they lead you in, and they sit you down, and they start to bring out what's probably the equivalent of naan bread, and a couple other things, and eggs, right? So there's fried eggs and this naan bread, and they immediately serve you out. And so Jaffe kind of chews down a little bit and takes a sip from this mug of this weird colored liquid that's been poured out to each one of you. And he says, "Never expected to see Marines here, but you are most welcome."
Thank you. once again for your hospitality. You've treated us with immense respect, and we appreciate it.
You have our respect for the gifts that you bring. It's so very... He looks to Brookson. He says, Brookson, no offense is meant to you at all. You are a friend of our village, and we welcome you every day, any day you come. But it has been a long time since we have seen you. And then he looks back to Stratford, and he kind of looks to Finnegan. Like, his eyes are very much drawn to Finnegan, because that's who Stratford said came up with the idea. And he then asks, he says, I'm very surprised that you've brought Crane with you.
Surprised?
Very surprised. It's it's unlike Wayland Yutani to let go of their product to us.
Well, the I'll look at. I forget his name already. The other sergeant.
Brookson.
Brookson. Well, Brookson had a let's say a silver tongue when speaking with Wayland Yutani about the situation, and we were able to secure some assets.
So the only one that came in with you was Brookson. The other security officers are actually staying outside. And before the door closes, it's kind of cool because you see them getting out, and you see these kids run up with a soccer ball, and it's almost like this is a very typical thing for them to do, right? Like the officers, they just jump out and they're like running towards these kids, and they meet each other in the middle, right? Like, and they're out there having a fun time. And Brookson says that wasn't my idea. I used his words over there, right there. That boy right there with the gun. They all got guns, but the one with the long gun right there. Sorry. That was his idea. And I don't think without the pull of the Marines being here, I don't think he would have got it. And so Jaffe looks to Davis, and he does the bow, right? And it's when this happens that the one sitting right next to Zap. So you have been placed in opposites, right? So you have...
So we're all in the same structure, right?
Yes, you are all in there, right? So you have basically a Marine and an Elder. Marine, Elder, Marine, Elder, Marine, Elder around a circular table. And the one sitting next to Zap is the one that has the fire in his eyes. And he just slams his fist down on the table and he says, but it's not enough! It's like the company and these Three World Empire monsters... They strangle us, they kill us, they poison us, and yet, here we are, taking the scraps that they give us and being happy with them.
No, it's not enough, and you're goddamn right. All right, from what we've heard, your people and all the people on this planet have been suffering since the Three World Empire moved in. Now, we're not here to cause trouble. We're not here to incite violence. We're here to get to the problem. We're down to the root of the problem. And although I understand your violent outbursts, I ask that you please refrain from this until after dinner, as we feel very welcome in this place.
And
we're
so
pay respects to Jaffe.
And so whenever you say that one of the females, the one that's on the opposite side of Zap, it's like Zap is just attracting all the anger on his side. Good job, Zap. It's because you're the FNG. They know, and so they're all seated next to you.
They know.
The female, she's younger. She's the younger of the two females, and she has this almost fire in her eyes too. But her voice is just, it's the kind of voice that draws you in. And she says, "You say he is right. Then why is nothing done? If anything, the people who should be punished is Siegson for lying to us. And yet here we are, starving on a planet." And she kind of like closes her fist and she looks over at Jaffe and she kind of gives a little, like, I'm deferring because Jaffe's eyeballing her right now. And
look, so why don't you all help us out? Tell us what you know about these insurgents or whatnot, and then we can take some good word back to Wayland Yutani. Maybe they can make a deal with us to send you more supplies.
And so, Duel, one of the other male, the older male that isn't Jaffe, says, "It will do no good. Wayland Yutani and Three World Empire want us all dead. They want us gone. Because we had made a deal with them. You see, when we first landed here, and we were given permission to land, that we were made an agreement with Wayland Yutani and Three World Empire that said that we would be the ones first drawn upon as a labor force. And yet Wayland Yutani comes in here with automated equipment. We were told that we would be miners. We would be farmers. We are not farmers because they bring in these automated equipment. There is nothing to mine near us, and so there is no mines open. And so we were told that we would be given this opportunity to earn our way, to become a society altogether. And yet, what do? Are any of our villages walled? No, but theirs is. The only way that we will ever make our voices known is if we unite the colonies and we cast out Three World Empire. That is our only choice.
To pursue violence with more violence doesn't seem like a sustainable solution for anyone.
And so Jaffe kind of holds up a hand to you and he says, young man, he is not saying violence. My elders here are all non-violent in nature except for young Sugal over there. Sugal does not have the temperament yet that comes with age, but he will learn. And so you see a look across from each other of a father to a son, right? And you can see now that there's a difference. And no, the first name is not Steven. And so Jaffe sits, he says, Duel has his feelings. He believes that we should be united and we should form a singular colony. And by forming a singular colony, Three World Empire would have no choice but to either grant us full, as members of this world, or leave. But that's not possible with the insurgency that's happening in Zapsi.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that is where you're trying to dig into the heart. Yes, young man?
Correct.
I can tell you that some of our young people here, they go to Zapsi. They go to Zapsi to trade. They go to Zapsi to escape the realities here. There is drink and drug, and women and men in Zapsi who will do what they need to in order to survive. I can tell you that I don't believe there are insurgents here. I know that we have lost several young people who have tried to infiltrate Wayland Yutani's gear, or their farms. I can tell you, though, I don't... And he kind of stops. And he rubs his hands together. For your gifts, I will give you information. There is one and a farm that is at the end of the road. If you continue down the northmost road, you will come to a farm at the end that's owned by several individuals, but there's one there by the name of Haban. Haban has more wealth than he should. And if he was going... We are not rich people here. I'm sure that you can see most of us are hungry and starving. And yet his people on his farm are growing rather... I would not go so far as to call them fat, but they're getting large. They're eating very well. I'm sure that their chickens are doing well and their crops are doing well, but they are doing too well. And whenever he says that, you see one of the one female that spoke up, she just stares daggers at him. And he says, I do not believe, if you talk to the headmaster here of this planet, he believes that every colony has a finger in this insurgency. We do not. We simply want to peace and to exist. That is all. That is all we want to do.
It sounds like you want to unite the colonies, and I think that would benefit the colonies in general. It sounds like this insurgency is doing nothing but causing unnecessary violence and destroying the potential of unification and destroying the possibility of peace.
I don't know, young man, if unification is ever possible. I don't know if that's possible. Zapsea has become a place of demons. But if anything, yes, I think that if we could... I do not know if I agree with Duel. I do not know if unification is the proper thing to do. But I know that we simply want peace. And that is why I give you this name. I do not know if this person is involved in something terrible, but I do know that he stands out.
Right.
And for your gifts, I feel that you are deserved something. And that is what I can give you.
And for that, I will not pry. I will not ask for more. So thank you for your dinner. We appreciate the bread broken today. How far along are we at dinner, actually? Are we...
Well, we are about to raid from this dinner.
Right. Sure. You're about to raid the dinner?
We're about to raid a farm and raid a dinner. So, or raid another channel. And because I think that's about where we're at. So, I want to go ahead and throw us to asking about how everyone's feeling. So I always like to end a session with kind of digging into how the characters are. So what's Sergeant Stratford feeling right now?
Definitely conflicted, because as much as I believe this guy, and I believe the situation at hand, conflicted between whether or not the insurgency is incited by the colonies in order to get rid of Weyland-Yutani, or if the insurgency is there to stop the colonies from uniting at this point. There's definitely a question there, and so it's definitely Stratford's kind of takes responsibility in the sense of now that this is his job and this is his place and this is his squad is responsible for this problem on this planet. He's responsible ultimately for the outcome. So, stressed, I guess, would be a word that he could be stressed, but managing it well.
And so let's continue on down in rank. Lance Corporal. Sorry, I was grabbing what you were saying over there. Excuse me. Lance Corporal Davis. What's going through Lance Corporal Davis's mind right now?
Davis is probably trying to relax a little bit during this dinner. It's a moment of rest where we're not, talking to someone or we're talking, but not like meeting a bunch of new people like in Weyland-Yutani and all that we had, and it's a moment that we can sit down. But at the same time, there could be these insurgents around anywhere. So Davis is definitely on edge, and probably feeling the same way Sarge is with wanting to, keep an eye out for a squad.
Pfc Finnegan. What's going on with Pfc Finnegan right now?
I haven't really talked about Finnegan's backstory at all, hardly. But Finnegan grew up on the rough streets of whatever planet that we want to say that he originated from. But and he got caught in a life of crime, which when he was a kid, he boosted ships and maybe speed bikes or whatever there was. Whatever there's around, he would try and lift it and take it for a joyride, and that's why he wanted to become a pilot. So he feels for these people because he grew up kind of like them. And that's why Finnegan actually is canonically smaller in stature and not as stocky and things like that as some of the other Marines here. But he feels for these people, and he knows how to get to their attention and how to essentially see that they can't. He wants to see them unite, but he wants to figure out what the root cause is, and it's bothering him that Sarge did not ask at the end there if they had been threatened in any way. So he is probably going to do something in the next scenario, hopefully, to try and resolve that, because he wants that question answered. He wants to know if there's somebody pushing on this group of people. So
It's a good question. It's a good question that does have an answer. PFC Zap. First time with the group. What's going through PFC Zap's mind right now?
Zap is feeling out of his element, that this is above his pay grade, that he trusts his teammates, though, his squad mates, but he could easily be led astray if given the wrong advice.
And so with that, we're going to pull away from the Greenfields planets, and we're going to go ahead and prepare to do a raid in just a moment. I do want to say thank you to my Marines for showing up on a random Tuesday. I knew that because I'm going to be leaving to Ohio. I didn't know if I'm going to be able to play on some of these Sundays that I'm gone. And I didn't want to just try and get all of this into this Sunday. Because there was a lot. So I wanted to get some of this out of the way to get you guys used to what's going on and the multitude of players that are involved in this scenario. So thank you to you guys. Thank you to the audience who was out there. And we're going to get ready to do a raid. So thank you once again, and we will see you next time. Semper Fi.